it is a What the Fuck Wednesday.
Oh, yes. Verizon's sponsoring that, too.
They are? That's nice of them.
It comes with the territory.
First game, Rams against the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Both sides of the ball, I think, are really interesting with this one. Let's start with the Seahawks offense against the Rams defense for a couple of reasons. Not only because I think it was an interesting watch for those 4 quarters, but there's some big picture things that creep in that really matter with Seattle. This is the first time they came into the game averaging 34 points a game, number 1 in the league. They scored in the teens. So that's a story right there. And this one-off story a month ago, hey, Russell Wilson had a bad game. He threw more than 1 pick in a game. It's now 3 of the last 4 games. He has multiple interceptions. They've lost all 3 of those games. So there's a disturbing pattern here with this team. And I think still a MVP candidate, but not as strong as it once was. For those of you watching with us, we're taking a look at his production, Russell Wilson's production, first 5 games. 19 touchdowns, 3 picks. He made it look like a video game. Last 4 games, they're 1-3, and I don't think this number is up here. There we go. 10 total touchdowns, 10 turnovers. There's only 1 quarterback in the league with more turnovers than Russell Wilson. It's Carson Wentz. So with those bigger themes, a part of what we're talking about with this game, what happened with the Seahawks offense on Sunday?
Well, that's funny. You know, I never thought about that. Those 2 guys are leading the league in turnovers. Well, they're both in a similar position where they're asked to be the team a lot, you know. And again, I know Russell Wilson's doing a better job, but also has more talent around him and things like that too. But I think that's what it comes down to more than not just the base thought of Russell Wilson and what goes on with Seattle. You know, hey, listen, the offense has been very successful. They haven't really had to change the formula much. The only time they've been challenged as far as what the offense didn't do was what we talked about a few weeks ago. Patrick Peterson played one-on-one on DK, and they didn't answer the bell or attack him, right? So they've really had to make no adjustments through the year offensively. Everything they wanted to do has worked, and it's worked great with points and everything like that. But within that, too, that's a lot on Russell Wilson every week. You know, and again, it's a good offense that has a lot of answers. Do I sit there and go, oh, my gosh, the offense is amazing, I'm blown away by schemes? No. I just go, I really like it. It's good. It's sound. They have answers. I'm not blown away by it. Nor, you know, what I also would say about Russell Wilson in this situation specifically, you know, again, the defense stinks. He knows he's got to keep the pedal to the metal and force the issue on the offensive side of the ball. But also, too, he's made some dumb decisions.
Perhaps the dumbest one in the first half on Sunday.
No doubt. I mean, let's start there.
Might as well start right there.
Yeah, okay. And you know, let me button up what I just said there too. And then, because I want to say this. You know, because this game exposed something else, so now where they need to go, okay, and here's our next adjustment for the year. We can't let people play DK Metcalf one-on-one thing. We adjusted to that. Now I'll get into some of the specifics here again because we saw one-on-one in this game. But one thing I wrote down in my notes to this game, can they give Russell Wilson an easy throw? Is he allowed to throw screens? Is he allowed to throw a wide receiver screen? Are they allowed to throw a speed sweep or one of those shovel passes that, you know, Patrick Mahomes gets 6 touchdowns a year on?
Right.
They don't do any of that for him. I think people need to notice that. There's no, like, let me take this play off mentally and just get an easy completion throw for Russell Wilson. And every other really top offense in football, there's many of them. I mean, Drew Brees, Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Newton.
They all do it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, as you mentioned, he does it.
Tons of them. You know, the quarterback he played on Sunday, Jared Goff. I mean, he goes through quarters of a game where I go, damn, does he ever have to make a decision or a throw? Or is the coach just going to babysit him on every play? So that is going to lead to mistakes too. Now, that first interception was bad. Bad for 2 reasons. One, it's 17-10. They were, you know, not winning the game at that point, obviously down 17-10.
Down 17-10, and they had Jamal Adams had just created turnovers.
Right.
They were in the plus territory.
You're thinking, here they go. Because the momentum was clearly on the Rams side. Yes, Seattle had 10 points to that point, but it was not easy, 10 points. It was work to get it. And here we go. We got a game plan play against a perfect coverage. All right. They got a receiver to the left, the tight end to the left. It's quarters coverage. They basically tell that outside receiver, I want you to kind of run at the inside shoulder of the corner. So he has to take you. And what they call this is a post versus cover 4. We're going to make them run a post to get doubled. Because they know if you kind of run it between the safety and the corner, it's in no man's land.
Right.
And they both have to kind of take you. Now, they have the tight end on inside who now is running the flat route, and they're going to have him run the up because they know, ooh, that corner is probably going to get antsy and go with that little skinny post to where we should have a huge window. Guy's wide open. Wide open.
Yeah.
Wilson decides to move in the pocket. He didn't really have to move. The protection was fine. If he sat there and just throw it, it's going to be one of his easiest touchdown passes of the year. But I can't fault him all the way. I understand why he moves. The Red Sea parted in front of him.
Wide open.
Right? So I think he saw that. Then he got into, wait, let me look over to that guy that we had this game plan play for that was probably open in practice all week. And he looked over and he went, damn, he's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have ran for at least 10 yards and might have been a touchdown. It's going to be him.
That's what made it look all the worse.
That's what made it look worse.
Yeah.
And then he throws it, but now it's a little late because he's moved in the pocket. The DB, the corner who ran with the post,
Darius Williams did a great job.
Great game.
Yeah.
He's got nowhere to go now because he's getting to the back of the end zone. So now he's kind of looking back. Where's the quarterback? Where's the throw? He sees Russell getting ready to start throw that way. He comes off. And because Russell's late and because he's on the run, he can't throw a rifle, like a laser beam in that scenario. That led to the interception. That was a big part of the football, or a big point in the football game for sure.
Huge part, because that would have tied it if he keeps it. They're first and goal inside the 10.
Yeah.
And I wonder, even with a guy who still deserves to be in the MVP conversation, he's playing incredibly well for the whole season. I wonder how much confidence and doubt and hesitation comes in when you're putting up those kind of negative numbers.
Yeah, for a guy like him, I don't think I think he is.
Maybe it doesn't.
I don't know if it affects him. I think it affects him in a way where he's like, I gotta, focus in more and laser-like focus. And I think he just gets more obsessive. I don't think he's like, oh gosh, I'm scared to pull the trigger now, and I don't know what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing ghosts out there. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
Right.
I've never seen him really flinch at any point of his career, ever. So he's made mistakes, yes. It's not perfect, no. We know they haven't had a running game as of late because Chris Carson isn't in there. So that's more on him. We know the defense stinks. And he played a team last week who was coming off a bye week and is damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, damn good. And they match up well with Seattle.
Clearly.
5 of the last 6 times they beat them.
Yeah.
And now, what do they match up well? Well, I talked a little on Monday. Hey, their front four is real, right? I mean, they're good enough to contain Russell Wilson and not let him make crazy plays that we see that are video game type things like you've mentioned. So they can do it. And then there was the great coaching by the defense of the Rams. I really love the Rams defense. It's one of my favorite watches in football.
What did they do specifically that's where I was talking about Seattle beaters the other way? What was the Seattle beater against this offense?
Well, I think the Seattle beater was number 20.
Jalen Ramsey.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I have talked about this in weeks past where the Rams were dabbling in this early in the year and going into the bye week, but not going all in on it, where it would be like, hey, Jalen Ramsey, this is like Revis Island stuff with Rex Ryan and the Jets. You cover that guy, and we're going to play a totally different coverage with everybody else because we're paying you $20 million.
And that's what they did.
And for a big part of the football game, they did that. But they didn't do it so much to where you could just go, they're doing it every play. They did a good job of, okay, it's 2 plays in a row. Now this play, we're going to play zone. And he won't even be on the side of DK Metcalf. So the offensive play caller, Schottenheimer, was probably going, damn, I can't get a feel for what down and distance they're going to run this defense. A few times they made it look like it was going to be like he's matching a man-to-man. And then they played Tampa 2 or cover 2. So now they're thinking, oh, we're going to get that man play where he's going to DK. Oh, wait, it's zone. What are we going to do? But then they would play Tampa 2, and he would be man. Everybody's playing Tampa 2, but he's man on DK Metcalf. Or they're playing cover 3, and he's man on DK Metcalf. So they did things like that. They really keep you off balance. It's really well coached. It's creative and exotic, but not exotic to where I go, oh, that's not sound. Somebody's going to burn them at some point. I really look at it and just go, no, this is a really well coached defense, talented, and they have a guy that can match up with DK Metcalf.
So was it creative enough, sound enough, highlighting the really strong individual abilities of Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah.
All those things, are those things that good where you can make sense of the fact that DK Metcalf not only didn't have a catch, wasn't targeted until the second half?
Yeah, I think it can. I think when you couple it together, first off, Jalen Ramsey is a freak show. You know, just off the top of my head, I'm not trying to make a list here or anything, all right? Jalen Ramsey, Stephon Gilmore, and Marlon Humphrey, to me, stand apart in the rest of football at corner.
Okay, but you're not even mentioning the one for Arizona who shut him down a couple weeks ago,
Patrick Peterson. I know. Now, Patrick Peterson, he did a good job, but remember, I blame Russell Wilson for that. I said there was a number of plays, DK Metcalf's wide open, and you have to play him.
Didn't get to him. Okay.
This wasn't the case this week. Now, he is physically a great matchup for DK Metcalf because of his length, his size, and then he can also match him with top-end speed. So he doesn't have to be like, you know, one of these guys that always has to play for the go route. I need to get on top of him and because I'm scared he's going to run around me. And then Metcalf runs a curl route, and you go, God, the guy's 10 yards off. You know, Jalen Ramsey can challenge you and then go, no, I can run with you. And then I don't have to worry so much that you're going to outrun me in a go route that I can kind of stay in your hip pocket when you start to break down and run a curl route and challenge that route. So he's special that way. But I think this is the other thing, the other part of this. This is where you have to do more with DK Metcalf. You know,
do more pre-snap or
everything. Can we send him? Can he move? Does he have to just go? Hey, never. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there was a play in the game where he motions. It's just break the huddle. He lines up there, and then everything else. Can you motion him? Can you stack him? Can you put him in a bunch? You know,
does he line up in the slot at all?
I mean, rarely. And then it's a limited route tree to go along with it. I mean, really, if you break down DK Metcalf, and I don't like, but I would bet you the majority of his routes are slants, goes, and probably like a 20-yard in cut.
Yeah.
It's very easy to figure out, I think, for a lot of these D coordinators. So to me, that's where it's got to change.
Yeah.
It's got to change that way a little bit. Can they run some wide receiver screens for him? Can they run the speed sweeps, the little quick shuffle passes? Yeah. Those things.
It could be a killing two birds with one stone. Because a couple of moments ago you said, hey, can they get Russell some easier completions?
That's where I wanted to go.
Maybe if they get those to DK.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't, you know, again, Brady and Gronk in all those years, right? Okay, I'm just taking one where I go, this team knew how to use this guy, right?
Right.
Or even Michael Thomas with the Saints.
Yeah.
Move them around, stack them. You got to do different things with that type of player. The attention is going to be on him at all times. So at times you got to give them little ways to where, yeah, you give them an advantage off the line of scrimmage. Or when you move in motion and you're playing some of these complex defenses, it's going to mess them up. Like if they were playing Tampa 2, and then all of a sudden it's Tampa 2, but it's lock on DK Metcalf with Jalen Ramsey. And all of a sudden they motioned him or did something crazy. That might mess up their Tampa 2, where all of a sudden they go, wait, we can't run this coverage now with him over here and do this. You know, they never really challenged that aspect of the Rams either, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
But I would just like to see that's the next step.
Yep.
Because this was a game now where you might have to play this team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play them again in the regular season.
Right.
And they're, sorry, but they're one of the few teams in football that has a guy
that can do that.
That can kind of like one-up your guy, or at least stay with them.
And I think those are really good ways of looking at it, or good points to bring up, how the scheme, pre and post, could really help DK Metcalf be even better. But more often than not, when they were going at it, when it was DK Metcalf against Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Ramsey got the best of it.
Definitely.
Did it make you come off of your hard stance that this is the best receiver in football?
Yeah, it made me think a little bit. It did. But I still don't know if I am going to come off of that quite yet, just with
still
one game in a perfect, perfect matchup.
I'm not saying what one game should change.
No,
I was watching that and I wondered.
Yeah, no, it crosses my mind always. Because, I know I've said it for about 3 weeks now. Right? I think he's the best receiver in football. He'd be the guy I'd take. So I get what you're saying. He's not perfect, certainly not. But, another aspect I would like to look at, too, just when we talk about, like, easy completions and things like that, it doesn't really have to be screens. You could use the Green Bay method, too. Devontae Adams is not a guy that, like, scares people and runs by them. Right? And I know I didn't have him in the top 10. But you know how he runs by people a lot of the time? They throw a slant. They throw a slant. They throw a slant. Oh, they fake the slant and he runs a go.
Yeah.
And they could do that with DK. That's one thing. They run a lot of double moves with DK, and I want to go, yeah, but you didn't ever run the first part of that play all day long. So why would Jalen Ramsey jump the double move when he's never had to cover that route originally to begin with? Who the f cares about it out and up if you haven't thrown the out to make the guy go cover it? the
Right.
up isn't going to be effective.
And once again, ties together with your main point here of getting some underneath throws helps.
It just got to be a little bit. I think it'll make them more effective. And, listen, I root for Russell Wilson in Seattle. And really, when I watch film and games, I try to put myself in that team's shoes. Ooh, what would I do? How would you fix this situation? I'm not like in a rooting interest, and that's just something that jumps out to me there.
Thinking of fixing the situation, when I say Russell Wilson is the leading rusher for the Seahawks,
thank you.
What's your reaction?
Point proven. Yes, it's too much on him.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, I would be shocked this week between the comments I heard on Pete Carroll and Chris Carson coming back.
Which is huge.
Right,
Yeah.
where I think you're going to see a little bit more of a running attack. Because I think Pete Carroll's going to go, okay, I mean, hey, listen, I want to let Russ cook and all that, but now we're cooking some bad food, and I don't like that. It's overcooked, all right? And he's going to want to get back to that, and probably to help his own defense a little bit, too.
As far as that part of the game, the Seahawks offense, Rams defense, I'm turning the page here to look through the other side to start with Goff and the Rams offense. You ready there?
I think so. I think we hit it all.
I think and again, I think it's just contextually and anecdotally, it's nice to have the bigger picture in mind.
Right.
And I don't think you can look at the success the Rams had against the Seahawks Sunday without thinking about they got embarrassed. Not only beat, they were embarrassed the week before against Miami.
Right.
They had no answer for the blitz. Jared Goff was a turnover machine. He was really good. The offense looked to have a better plan. So I think you have to consider the response to a horrible performance the week before when you think about what they did against Seattle. So with that in mind, what happened, Rams offense, Seahawks defense?
Well, I think I didn't look at it as necessarily a different way of what the Rams do to attack.
It sure worked out better.
It worked out better because it was a different defense they had to play.
But Seattle's an aggressive defense too.
Seattle is an aggressive defense, but they don't have, the talent on the front line Miami does. They don't have the corners that Miami does. And quite honestly, Brian Flores' defense is just more, diverse and better coached than Seattle.
Right.
There's no other way I can say that.
Yep.
As much respect as I have for Ken Norton Jr. and Pete Carroll, hey, Flores is special that way. He spent a lot of time with Bill Belichick. They do some special things. Seattle right now is just aggressive. That's the only thing I can tell you that's similar to Miami. I just go, they're aggressive like Miami.
Yeah.
But the comparisons kind of end there.
Yeah.
And, when they're aggressive and then they also know that they're compromised at certain possessions, they just have to overplay their hand too much. I mean, some of these drives by the Rams,
the first 3 times they touched the ball, over 70 yards all 3 times, field goal and 2 touchdowns. And just like the week before against Buffalo, where we sat here a week ago and I said, well, Josh Allen had some easy throws. Goff stuck it in there a few times, but for the most part, I'm like, these guys are wide open.
I know, and I don't want to take anything away from Jared Goff, but you're right.
He was good.
He was good.
It was a
handful of throws, but like you're saying, and listen, it's not his fault that the other team can't play defense against simple plays.
Right.
I mean, you're right.
What's the deal? Why is an NFL team so aggressive?
Right.
They stay committed to being that aggressive.
Yeah.
And we all know that leaves you vulnerable if you're not talented enough to cover it up. Why is it week after week guys running free against this team?
Because they've had to overcompensate with aggressiveness because they can't even play the normal, just, hey, we're going to play conservative bend. They're just not talented enough. They're not. They're not talented enough, and they're not even well coached enough to where when I could show you a number of plays every week where I go, look, it's Tampa 2, or this is cover 4, and they mess it up.
Yeah.
I mean, every week. So I don't know what to say that. I mean, listen, let's go to our play, Pete, here. This is a great, because I know we have, this is on the opening drive, I believe, right? It's
yes.
And I'm sitting here because it's what the happened Wednesday, and I'm going on this play. What the How does this guy get this wide open? So it's the old play action pass from the Rams. Nobody's got more play action boots and screens than Sean McVay. He's up there in the league leaders. They're going to run basically the old double crosser here. So you see there's the act of the play action. Goff still has the ball. You could see the 4 DBs, right? It looks quarters. It's quarters. Mm-hmm. Every guy has their quarter of the field. All right, let's go to the next picture here. Next picture, okay? So now you see where we're at here. The top receiver running the deep cross. The receiver down here at the bottom at the 29-yard line is going across the other hash. The safety closest to him, okay, so let's go back to picture one more time just so I can make sure we get everybody right here, all right, just to do this so I can explain this. Jared Goff is the quarterback. To his left is number 21, Flowers. The safety to his left is 33 Adams. The safety to his right is 37 Diggs. And then the corner up top, I want to say is, oh man, I'm blanking on his name. I want to say it's 28, but I think it's DJ Reed, 29, okay?
5'9" guy, yeah.
So now, the receiver on the bottom, 11, Reynolds, he's running a 12-yard crossing route. The safety to that side, Jamal Adams, in this quarter's coverage, is taught to cut the crosser. Now, he cuts the crosser. You know, you could see him right now in this picture.
When you say cut the crosser, that means he's going to jump it?
He's going to jump it. He's going to try to cut it off. And you can see in this picture right now, Jamal Adams is at the 30-yard line right by the hash there.
Yep.
He is looking at a number 11. His eyes are on him all the way. And both safeties are kind of looking at that guy. So he crosses. Now we can go to the next picture. You'll see Jamal Adams is going to jump Reynolds. Okay, so now he jumps Reynolds. Now, when you do that in these quarters coverages,
they're supposed to jump that much?
He is. This is the rule in this one. It is. Trey Flowers in the bottom here, he has no threat to his quarter. He has to fill in now for Jamal Adams. He has to get back there. But as you see in this picture, for some reason, he's still looking at the running back in the flat after the play action fake. No, there's no reason to be there. KJ Wright's there. He's the flat defender in cover 4. So as the play goes, and let's go to the next picture, you can see Flowers can't get back there in time. He's way out of position. And it leads to Cooper Kupp really being wide open, and it should have been a touchdown.
Wide open.
But Goff threw a safe ball just to make sure he got the completion, and it goes down to the 5-yard line. But it's little things like that every week, and that's not little. I mean, it's little because that's a coverage.
It's a 40-yard gain.
It's a 40-yard gain against a coverage you put in the second day of training camp.
Yeah.
And you just go, how do we not know every rule about this by now?
And you just mentioned it happens every week, and I like it when these things tie together.
Yes.
So that's a major hole in the defense on the first drive.
Right.
Last week we sat right here, and we talked about the first touchdown pass Josh Allen threw.
Yeah.
What was it? It was a crossing route.
Where
somebody jumped something underneath.
And Jamal Adams didn't cover him.
Same thing?
Well, it's not the same thing.
It's
it's just another example of, they don't do the right things. Their rules get lost all the time. They have issues there. So that's where I think they go, wait, we can't play man-to-man. We can't rush the passer. When we play just our simple zone coverages, we get picked apart, and we have guys that mess it up all the time.
Right.
So why don't we just pressure people and blitz and put people at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah.
But when you have a good play caller like McVay and things like that, oh, man, you're aggressive? Oh, you want to stop my run? Oh, boot, screen, boot, screen, play action. I mean, that's why you're saying it was an easy day for Jared Goff.
A lot easier.
Right.
And let's bring it back to that.
Yeah.
You talked about the run, and we mentioned the fact that Russell Wilson didn't have any of that. He's a leading rusher for that team. The running game wasn't awesome for the Rams, but it did its job. 3 backs, 23 carries, 99 yards.
That's it.
Keeps the passing game on schedule, lets McVay be McVay. I mean, that's a massive thing that Jared Goff had that Russell Wilson did not have on Sunday.
No doubt about it. It does. And then think about all the easy completions and how life is so much easier for Jared Goff. How many times did Jared Goff get to, fake the ball to the running back and just look at the first guy and go, he's wide open.
Yes.
Let me throw it to him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's 10 yards over the middle. Maybe he's 1 yard over the middle. Maybe he's behind the line of scrimmage in the flat. Either way, he's wide open, and I didn't have to think. Great advantage for him. And Gruden, McVay, this is where I always give them, they're not known for their running, but they're going to run because they want to throw it effectively.
Yeah.
And they're great at staying patient with it. And as long as McVay is not just like getting 0-yard runs, he's always patient with it. He's not looking to blow you out of the water.
Right.
He just wants to, like you said, do it till you have to defend it.
Yeah.
So it's just effective enough to open up all my other things to screw you over.
Right. And it's funny how quickly things change because they used to be able to do it at a much higher level with one guy.
Yeah.
Now they got 3 decent guys.
Right.
And you sprinkled around, and none of the 3 had an awesome day. But when you put it together, it's like, hey, Rams run game, win.
Rams run game,
win.
Rams screen game. Who do I worry about in the screens?
Yeah.
I don't know. They throw them to all of them. I mean, I think you saw my notes towards the end of my notes because we're getting to the third, fourth quarter. I mean, how many screens do the Rams have?
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wrote, they have to be the league leader in screens, especially to wide receivers. And I don't know if you can look that up, Pete, but I would think that's certainly the thing. And here's the last thing I'll say, just to button this whole thing up. we've talked enough about the Seahawks, their issues. I always try to sit there and go, man, what do I do if I'm the Seahawks? How do you fix this? There's only one thing I can look at to where I'd go, ooh, I like this aspect over the last few weeks. Talked a little bit about in the Buffalo game last week. Happened again in this game, and I think there was some good success. I like when I don't think they can change their aggressive nature to a degree. It has to be there a little bit. They're just not good enough to not play that way.
Yeah.
But the one thing I like they do off of it is when they get like, ooh, there's 8 and 9 guys at the line of scrimmage, and it looks like they all drop out, and then it might be a 3-man rush. To me, that would be one thing I'd go, man, if you, through your study during the week, if you can just, err on, oh, we figured out in this personnel or this down and distance, it's more throw than run or whatever, your scouting can figure that out, to maybe take a few more chances that way and not always be like, we're going to blitz 6 and 6, 7 and do all that. And all you have to do is throw it 4 yards over the middle and we won't have anybody covering them, so no problem. No. I think they've given Josh Allen, and I think they gave Jared Goff a few issues the other day when they did that stuff. They were like, whoa, there's nowhere to throw. I haven't seen them do this a lot. And I just think that would be one thing. If I could just throw my 2 cents into what I'd like to see them do, that would be it.
I think those were good suggestions. One way of looking at it with the Seattle offense, making things a little bit easier for Russell Wilson sometimes. And I like what you just said about the defense, too, about the way they can change it up.
Thank you.
NFC West, I want to take a look at the odds this week versus last week. This is from our partners at PointsBet Sportsbook. And for the NFC West last week, Seattle, pretty clear favorite. And after that loss, their third in the last 4 games, it's now Arizona as the favorite to win the NFC West. We have the Cardinals, the Rams, Seahawks all at 6-3. If you had to pick one right now that you think is the most likely, the way you see it, to get it done, who do you like?
I think I'd go with the Rams.
Yeah.
I think I would.
That's what I had written down too, and I thought it would be opposite of you.
It's tough.
I thought you'd go Seahawks or Cardinals. Biggest reason you like the Rams?
I think they're the most complete to me. Where the Rams, I just go, hey, listen, their drop-back pass game and they have to rely on Jared Goff. That's not their strong point. But to me, that's really about the only weakness I see in their football team.
Right.
That's it. Where the Cardinals are getting better.
Yep.
And I'd go, I'm liking more and more of what I see there. But I guess I'm just not sold all the way yet. And then Seattle, I just go, I won't be shocked if they win the West because number 3 is awesome and he can do it.
Yeah.
But that's a lot on one guy. I'm just not sure he can pull it off. And they got some pretty tough games coming up here too.
Rams to win the NFC West. Does that mean Jared Goff is going to show up in the top 10?
No.
Quarterbacks?
Nope. Team sport.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.